I'm actually a little bit worried about right now. And I know I spent all of the last 2 weeks talking about how this might actually be the best team in the country and how this is the most talented team in the country. And it's because a lot of it was because of what they could be defensively, and that is Duke. They kind of got lit up by Miami a little bit in their own building. I thought that the defense that Paolo played on the perimeter was a little bit disappointing. I thought that some of their effort level in the second half in terms of keeping people in front is a little bit disappointing. Tio, we talked about it on Saturday night on After Dark. Duke, when they're at their best, is pressuring, overplaying passing lanes, making it really difficult for you to run anything you want, and then daring you to beat them one-on-one when you get whatever switch that you end up wanting, right? And the problem was Miami was winning those one-on-one battles, especially late in the second half. So I'm going to go to you first on this one, Fanta. How worried are you about Duke? How worried are you about their defense? Or was this just a byproduct of, okay, they were coming off of a 2-week layoff. They had only played one game before that. Maybe they didn't have their legs in this one.
I think it had a little bit to do with legs, but I also it had a lot more to do with Miami being good and really defending. Miami didn't defend anybody for a long time.
You hear that, Fanta? He's no longer a Big East guy. T.O. is back to being an ACC guy.
Hey, you got to give credit where credit's due. Miami's still good. Like, they lost a tough one last night at Florida State, but that's a veteran team, and it goes back to what we were saying about, man, the depth of talent this year. Miami's got 4 6-year seniors. So I want to chalk it up a little bit to that. And we were talking about Paolo Banchero, and I mentioned off air. Do you want to get into this right now, the difference between him and Jabari Smith? Because I think it's relevant to this point. I think it's relevant to this point. Jabari Smith plays hard all the time. And you know why he plays hard all the time?
He doesn't cramp up.
Freaking Bruce Pearl. There's not a guy on that team for Bruce Pearl that doesn't play freaking hard. And you can question his energy on the sidelines. He goes a little nuts, sure. But those guys play hard all the time. I'm not sure the standard has been set for a Duke team this season like it has been in the past, especially coming back from the COVID pause. There's a lot of rust, sure. But there's not a whole lot of getting up in the passing lanes. And guys, they turn it over like crazy. I'm almost willing to say, worry about Duke a little bit. They're still the most talented team in the country. That doesn't change because of a couple bad game or a bad game. But they need to take care of the basketball. If they do that, they're going to give themselves a chance because there's just too much firepower. And I'm just disappointed right now because in Banchero, because I said at the beginning of the year, and I'm not sure I back off of it. He's the most talented kid as far as an intangible perspective, an NBA draft prospect. He just doesn't play hard as you would want all the time.
Yeah, and you make a really good point.
That's the biggest difference between him and Jabari Smith.
Yeah, and you make a really good point about the turnovers too. You kind of what was the biggest question mark, fans, that we had coming into the season about Duke? It was their point guard play. Right now, the guy that is kind of running the point for them is Wendell Moore, and Wendell Moore is not
15 live ball turnovers.
Yeah,
15 live ball turnovers. Like, if you turn the ball over, it goes out of bounds, at least you can set your defense. 15 steals for Miami. That's ridiculous.
Miami's not even really a team that necessarily is known for being that on the defensive end of the floor. Phantom, where are you at on Duke?
Well, the head of the snake is Wendell Moore Jr., and he had 6 of those 17 total turnovers. That being said, I am here to say, take a deep breath. Everyone in Durham, take a glass of water, take a deep breath. Here's the deal with this. You are absolutely right in that Duke did not defend the way that they're capable of in this game. You want my honest opinion? Paolo Banchero didn't play as hard because Miami was in the building. And they didn't treat Miami seriously. They didn't. I got that inclination watching the game. I thought that Duke was the more passive team. I thought they were a team that was not making things happen. They were allowing Miami to sort of sit in the game, dictate the game. Well, you leave a team that option, and they might seize it. Charlie Moore's been in college basketball for a decade. Yeah. Is he a great player? No, he's not a great player. But he's played in plenty of close games. And on this night, he figured out a way to make some crazy plays. Duke should have won this game. They should have won this game. Paolo Banchero, when the going got tough, made a couple of huge plays down the stretch and still had 20. If Wendell Moore's getting you 12, 12, and 7, and Paolo Banchero's getting you 20, and you hit more threes than Miami, what's the only way that you're going to lose the game? By turning the basketball over. Cut down the turnovers. They're going to be fine. This Duke team, someone said to me, does this mean that they're going to get challenged for the ACC? There ain't a shot in hell.
No, you're right. Yeah.
They're going to win the ACC, hands down. They're going to be there in the NCAA tournament with a top 2 seed. There'll be a 1 seed or a 2 seed. I'll predict it right now. They're not going to have any issues in round 1, and they're not going to have any issues in round 2. And the momentum of everything is in a perfect place. I'm not worried about Duke. I would still put them in my Final Four because I know who they are in a big game. And that is a great defensive team, a team that protects the rim. But don't take people lightly. They're going to bounce back on Wednesday night. And I like Wake Forest, but I feel for Wake Forest that they're getting Duke off this loss because I feel that Wake Forest, a good team, I like Coach Forbes a lot. I think it's a tough spot for them. Duke is going to bounce back in this game.
Let me ask you guys this. How many F-bombs do you think Coach K dropped in practice on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday combined? Do you think we're over 1,000 F-bombs in those 3 practices combined?
I'm not going to put a number on it. I'm just going to say a plethora.
Yeah, cornucopia.
A cornucopia of F-bombs.
Yeah, because your team's better than this. Your team is better than this, than what they did on Saturday. Look, you're right in that Miami had been on a roll in terms of winning. Sometimes that's infectious. And then you win a game that people didn't have you winning.
You know what else it is? You know what else it is? This may sound crazy, but Miami goes into Cameron as a program with confidence. They're not scared to do. They've won in that building a couple times. And I know it's not specifically the guys on that court, but it's the coaching staff in that locker room. It's the guys saying, hey, we've done this before. We go in there, we win at Duke. The year that Duke won the title with Jahlil Okafor and Tyus Jones, they lost to like Manu LeCompte and Angel Rodriguez because both those guys went nuts. Like, it just happens. It's one of those things in college basketball that just happens. It's like teams, Pac-12 teams losing at Colorado and Utah. It just happens. Miami going into Duke and winning the game. It just happens sometimes. It's one of those weird things. I'm a full believer that 90% of life is confidence. So if you walk into Cameron saying, I don't know how we're going to deal with all these crazies, it's going to be loud, look at all the titles, look at Duke, look at all that talent, then you're already fucked. But if you go in there saying, like, we can win, we are going to win because we can get that done, like, you're got a really good shot at doing it. 90% of life is confidence, sports or not sports.
Who's coaching the team? By George, the dream is alive. Jim Larinaga accounted for one of the greatest NCAA tournament runs in the history of college basketball.
We don't need to talk about that. We don't need to bring that up. Why are you bringing up? Why are you bringing stuff up like that, Fanta? I thought you were a Big East guy.
Didn't they beat UConn? Is that what happened?
No comment.
Come on.
I'm just making sure.
I don't remember.
Just making sure I was on the same page there.
I don't remember. I blacked out that night. I don't remember. I can't. Who knows, man? That was 2006. Those were dark days.
George Mason did that in DC. What a job by the committee.
Tony Skinn, stand up. Tony Skinn, stand up.
Tony Skinn, stand up.
Tony Skinn, stand up.
I like
anyway,